Hi everyone, this is Linda. So let's get started and actually make this little Trapunto bunny. Now once you're done stitching this out, you could stitch this as a pillow cover. You could stitch this on a shirt if you really wanted to. If I was going to do the shirt, I probably wouldn't do this outside crosshatch. I would probably just do this inner part. You could do this on a quilt block. You could do it on a couple of different things. So it's kind of up to you. So let's get started with this. And I'm going to make sure I get everything here gone. And I'm going to delete and everything's gone. So to do this, I'm going to I need a bunny. And I got my bunny. It's just a piece of clip art. You can pick any clip art, black and white clip art that's out there. Personal preference. It's up to you. You use whatever you want. You don't even have to do this as a bunny. We're going to do this as a bunny for this one. The hoop I'm using is the 260 by 260 hoop. I'm going to go to Express Design. I'm going to go Express Design into Rectangle, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle in here. Now, normally I would create a hoop to actually fit this. For this, it's not going to be a big deal. So this is about 12 by 12, somewhere around there. It could be a little bit smaller. It's not a big deal. We're going to do Create Express Trace. Next, I'm going to go find my picture of my bunny, which is this guy. I'm actually going to go next. And it looks like it's a little bit bigger than I need. It's not going to hurt anything. We're just going to do next. I want to make sure that I can see my bunny. I'm going to do next. If you can't see 100% of these outside edges and you need to go a little bit darker, you can always slide that like we've done in other previous videos. We're going to do next. I'm not messing with any of this. It's going to go in that hoop, but I've already decided how big my design was going to be. Next, I'm going to get an error. And the reason you're getting that error is because of the bunny that I chose. It is because of this eye, which is too solid for the trace to see. So don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. So there's my bunny. It's perfectly fine. I'm going to leave it at double trace. I'm going to do finish. It's perfectly fine. I'm going to just have them flipping the other way. You could make two of them and make them facing each other. You could do it however you wanted to. But I'm going to run this through the Quilt Block Wizard. And so what I want to do is I'm going to do a right mouse button. I'm going to do cut. And then I'm going to go to the Quilt Block Wizard. I'm going to say filled quilt block inner embroidery. Do next. I'm going to change the size that I want to be 260. I don't have to have it, or I'm sorry, 200. I don't have to have it be the whole space because all it is going to be the quilting that's going to go around the actual bunny. I'm going to do next. I'm going to paste my bunny back in place, do next. I want this to be right up close to that bunny, so I'm going to go to 0 margin, next. This time I want to use a motif. I'm going to go motif, I'm going to do options. The group I'm going to leave this at is universal. The category I'm changing to is flowers and leaves. And you can use anything you want. This just happened to be what I used. Number 7. I don't want reverse and mirror yet. I'm going to go to motif 2. I'm going to say use motif 2. Again, we're going to flowers and leaves 1. We're going to come down here and I'm going to pick on that same flower again, but this time I do want it to reverse and to mirror image. Same size. I'm not doing anything with spacing. I'm leaving the spacing all like it currently is, and I'm going to do OK. So what's going to happen is I'm going to actually take this and we're going to cut a lot of this away, but you'll see that here in a second. We're going to do finish. So there it is, but I need to do a couple more things. We're going to do reveal groups. I'm going to pick on just the quilting part of it. I'm going to do a right mouse, edit and stitch editor, go to the border tab. I have circle selected, border shape, and then I'm going to actually do just a straight stitch. I didn't want it to be too terribly heavy, just straight stitch is fine. And then I'm going to click, hold, and drag, and I'm going to get this box. Now, it's pretty good, but if let's say I wanted a little bit more of that quilting stitches, I could actually take, you got to look really close depending on how busy your flowers or whatever your quilting is if it's really, really busy, you need to really look for those little boxes. And I could actually rotate it a little bit. I'm not going to, but I can still move it a little bit. Kind of keeping in mind that I want that bunny to be kind of centered. When I'm done with that, I'm going to do Create External Border. So now what's happened is it's made this a separate piece from that. We're going to go home. We're going to click on the outside edge because I don't want that anymore. And I'm just going to hit delete. And I'm going to close Stitch Editor. And now I have those stitches. Now we can watch this stitch out if you want to. There's my bunny. There's my stitches. Okay. Or just cancel. All right, the next thing I want to do is I need to get those scallops that are going to come in here. Now, when I stitch this out, you're going to understand more when you're stitching this out. But give me a second. We're going to go over to the frame tab. We are going to be in frame. We're going to pick on this oval. Doesn't matter what your margin is. You can set it to 0 if you want to. We're going to do stitch type, motif line. I've got Husqvarna Viking. I did scallop stitches and stitch number 25. I took off fit to line, kern, mirror. I don't want any of that. Now, some people find that they want to do that. I found I was having some issues with some of the loops being a little bit different. I'm just going to leave it like this. We're going to do okay. I've got my design selected, and I'm going to go apply. And now, even though I set that margin to 0, the only place the margin paid attention to was that outside edge. So I'm going to actually take and I'm going to drag this. I want the points of the scallop to be right there at the outside edge of my oval. That looks pretty good. All right. Now the only thing I need to do is I need to add all that other quilting that's around the outside edge here. So to do that, I'm going to make sure everything is selected. I'm going to do a right mouse. I'm going to do cut. And the reason I do cut is so that it disappears from here, because when I go into the quilt block wizard and do next, changing this to 260, do next, and now I paste this, it's already got the design there. I don't have to have it a second time. So I'm going to do next. This time I do want it to be separated just a little bit, and I'm going to put in a 3, just so that it's just a little bit bigger on the outside of the scallops. I'm going to do next. I'm going to do a crosshatch, options, and I'm going to make this like 15. I'm not making any other changes. You could do a double stitch to make it a little bit thicker. I didn't. I just left it like that. Okay. Finish. And there it is. Now, I would go through and start changing my colors, but let's first reveal my groups. Reveal groups. The first thing you need to, when you get ready to do this, is you're actually going to hoop Whisper Web Stabilizer. You're going to, on top of that, you're going to lay a piece of batting that's going to cover the whole inside area of the hoop. Then you're going to lay a piece of inner foam along here. So when you go to stitch this out, I need the scallops to stitch on top of the inner foam. So I'm going to move that so it stitches first. And so when it's done stitching, I'm going to cut and go along the scallops here, and I'm actually going to cut away the inner foam on the outside area. Now, remember, you don't have fabric here yet. Not until this point. Now I'm going to layer a piece of fabric on top of that. If you want, you could then do a basting stitch to hold your fabric in place. I didn't, but that's personal preference. You can do that. You could actually go to the frame tab, add a basting stitch to it if you want to. I didn't. I left it just like this. So then you're going to stitch the bunny, and the bunny is going to be stitching on top of your fabric, the inner foam, and the batting. This is going to be stitching on top of the inner foam, the fabric, and the batting. Then you're going to stitch this, and this is only going to stitch on it's going to be the fabric, the stabilizer, and the batting. So that's what's going to give you this trapunto kind of look. And that's what you want. Now to add the eye, that was a simple enough thing. I'm going to make sure nothing is selected. I'm going to go to the letter tab. I picked on Electra, which is in the modern area, Electra. And I'm going to do a period. And I'm going to change this to like 25, just so I have a decent size eye. I've got a period in there. Make sure nothing is selected. I'm going to hit apply. Now, in order to move it, I really need to zoom in. Take that and move it up here. So I'm going to change its color to a black. Or close. I know that's really a blue, navy blue, but that's okay. All right. Now, in order to make sure everything stitches correctly and doesn't stitch out of order on you, this is fine. The bunny you can change to a different color so it doesn't try and stitch that first. And it doesn't matter. I stitched everything in the same color. Then I want this one, and I need to change both these colors. And you could change this to something along the same lines. It is just what it is the second set of stitches it's going to go around this outside edge. So if you wanted a different color, you can make it a different color. That's personal preference. This one I'm also going to change. I don't want that to be blue because I don't want that to try and stitch first. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to stitch this. And I'm going to follow this. And remember what I told you. This is going to stitch on top of the inner foam, the batting, and the stabilizer. And it's going to stop. Then you're going to cut. Oops. Stop for a minute. Cut around the outside edge of the inner foam, leaving the rest of it there. And then we're going to do the rest of the design. Now you can change colors if you want to. I didn't. I made everything monochrome. So it's personal preference, how you want to do that. And we go from there. So I'm just going to speed this up here. And we're all done. Let's zoom to fit. So you see the whole bunny. And I hope you actually stitch some of these out. I think it'd be kind of fun to see what everybody does. Again, you don't have to do this as a bunny. You could do this as something totally different. If you wanted to do a shamrock, it would be perfectly fine. These could be anything you want in the background. Personal preference. Play with it. Try something different. I hope you do it, and thanks for watching.